Good afternoon. I'm Kevin Walker, Senior Vice President of Public Policy for the Overland Park Chamber of Commerce. With me today is Jae Moyer, a candidate for Johnson County Community College Board of Trustees. Today we're going to spend some time getting to know Jae and learn about his candidacy and the priorities he has if elected to the Board of Trustees. Jae, welcome and thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let's start by having you take a few minutes to tell us about yourself and why you're running for this position.
Absolutely. Well, as he mentioned, my name is Jae Moyer, and I am a student at Johnson County Community College. I also openly identify as a member of the LGBTQ+ community. I believe that representation is extremely important, both on the front of myself being a member of that community and being in the classroom every day, being able to sit on the board and help the Board of Trustees understand just what goes on in the classroom at JCCC. These ideas and these experiences have led me to craft my platform of equality, education, and opportunity. I want to make sure that whatever we're doing on the Board of Trustees is focused on students and faculty and removing every single barrier possible to make sure that residents of Johnson County and residents who come to Johnson County from all over the world to get an education have the accessibility to do that. And I think that if we do that, it will open up the door to prepare our students and our graduates for the next economy here in Johnson County. And that is why I am running.
Good. So let's turn our attention to a few questions that have been prepared by the Policy Council. What are your top agenda priorities as a trustee, and what would you work towards for the betterment of the college and the education that it provides?
Well, so as I briefly mentioned before, my platform has these three ideas: education, equality, and opportunity. So I have some things that I'd like to do within those spheres. Regarding equality, I believe there's a necessity for a well-resourced office or space focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion at the college. This is something that Dr. Bound has been focused on, the current president of the college. He's been focused on making these things happen. And as an LGBTQ student, I want to see something like this happen because I believe there is a necessity for a place where staff, faculty, and students can go to make sure their voices are heard. In the realm of education, I want to make sure that educators feel as though their voices are heard, they feel as though they are respected, they feel as though they have every single tool that we could possibly provide them to do their job effectively, to provide a quality education. And I want to make sure that the emphasis is on those faculty members, that they have the autonomy to do their job in the classroom. And then when it comes to opportunity, I mentioned removing roadblocks. This looks like taking a good deep look at the budget at Johnson County Community College and making sure that we can find ways to maybe shore it up, tighten it up, so that we can possibly increase access to scholarships, not just for the general education program, but also for things like continuing education, trade programs that the college offers, these other types of ways of getting your education that students, non-traditional students especially, may be coming to Johnson County Community College to receive. So those are some of the big things I would like to focus on and do if I'm elected.
Good. With respect to paying for the cost of educating the college's students, where do you stand regarding tuition increases versus mill levy increases, and what's the appropriate way to balance those interests?
Well, I definitely am not interested in increasing either tuition or the mill levy, and I should hope that the voters of Johnson County would love to hear me say that. In reality, I think that we need to be focusing on what Johnson County Community College offers and how important that is to our economy. I believe that where the mill levy is at right now is fine, and I believe that we need to keep it there because that is giving the college the resources to provide a quality education. And when we look at how that cost is offset by what students graduating the community college and going straight into our workforce here in Johnson County are giving back, that is incredibly important. We know that students are graduating with educations that are top-notch. You cannot get some of these classes and some of these teachers anywhere else in the country. And we know that small businesses and other business owners are bringing their revenues, their livelihoods here to Johnson County because they want to employ the students that are graduating from the community college. I believe that is incredible. It has an incredible impact on our economy, which is why I don't support moving the mill levy, but I also support lowering the cost of tuition if we can find a way to do it. I want to make sure that we're fiscally responsible, which is why I would work with financial advisors at the college to make sure that we are looking at these things and asking these questions. Can we make the cost of tuition a little more accessible? And if not, are there other ways, like increasing access to scholarships, or at least not raising the cost of tuition? Are there ways that we can do that to make sure that students continue to come to Johnson County to get their education and go straight into our economy?
You mentioned a workforce a little bit, which is a great segue to our next question. Kansas is experiencing low unemployment rates, and employers are struggling to find qualified workers, especially in the skilled and technical trades. What role should Johnson County Community College play with regard to workforce development, locally and statewide?
Well, so I think that there are already some great things that the college is doing. There's a program at the community college that helps people kickstart their businesses. We need to look into expanding that. Is there a way that we can support that program and help people build their livelihoods here in Johnson County? Also, I know I may sound like I'm beating the horse a little bit, but again, going back to accessibility. People can't go out into the workforce unless they get their education. And I don't want to stigmatize education in the way that we want to focus specifically on degrees. There are folks that could come to Johnson County Community College, and this is just one example, but we have an incredible HVAC program at the school. How do we make sure that people have access to those programs so that they can get whatever certification they need to go directly into the workforce? I know that there's a great necessity for maintenance positions all over Johnson County, which is why I bring up the HVAC program. But that accessibility is everything. Making sure that if those people can receive their, that people know that if people can receive their education, they will be able to go out and do what it is that they need to do.
What do you see as the key aspect of Johnson County Community College's coordination with high schools, universities, and other post-secondary educational institutions?
Well, this community college, and it needs to remain this way, has an incredible impact, not just here locally, but nationally. People partner with Johnson County Community College all the time to try and provide students the education that they need. And this is what makes JCCC more than just a general ed community college. One thought that comes into my mind directly after you asked the question is the College Now program. I don't know if Olathe and Blue Valley specifically do this, but I know Shawnee Mission at least, and I assume the other school districts do too, have this College Now program where high school students can actually graduate high school with college credit. And if that's not the best way to make college accessible, then I don't know what is. But that's an incredible first step. So just providing those resources in maybe not so conventional ways. Can we maybe partner with businesses locally and say, if you take your kids here, we'll give them college credit and we can train them up so that they're specialized in your field. Those types of things, just reaching out and making those partnerships and making sure that we find every way possible to make sure that people have accessibility to that education.
You've touched on this a little bit, but what is your vision for the college 10 years from now?
Well, that's a tall order. I mean, I don't think it's quite possible to know exactly where anything's going to be 10 years from now. But one of the biggest things I want to make sure happens at Johnson County Community College is to figure out how we can make students and staff, particularly the faculty, feel respected at the community college. There's this interesting role about shared governance between the Board of Trustees and the faculty. And one of the things that I'd like to propose doing over the next few years is this relationship climate survey. Can we reach out to the faculty and find out what exactly it is they feel that they need, what tools do they need, in order to help the college run as effectively as possible, in order to make sure that we are providing the most quality education that we can be. That's the number one thing the college was set up to do, was to educate the community. And if we can figure out how to make sure that faculty are at the top of their game and make sure that they have all the resources that they need, I think the college is going to be pretty well set up.
And my last question this afternoon is, why do you believe you are uniquely qualified to serve on the JCCC board? And why are you seeking this office? And again, I know you've touched on this, but we'll ask it again.
Sure. Well, this is very, very important to me. I would represent voices that are not currently represented on the Board of Trustees. I am a student at the college, and I'm a member of the LGBTQ community. And at all levels of our government, these are not labels or roles that people have had the ability to play. I do believe that if I am sitting on the Board of Trustees, I have experiences and I have a voice that I would be able to use to guide my decisions. Being able to know just what it's like to be a student in a classroom right now at this moment in our time, I mean, coming out of a global pandemic, and to be a member of the LGBTQ community in this country and in Kansas, it can be tough sometimes. And I recognize what other folks in my community go through. And I believe that with that knowledge and with that experience, I would be able to help make decisions to make Johnson County Community College a safer place for students and faculty and staff, and a more welcoming place for those groups. And I want to do that in every aspect of, not just of JCCC, but of my life and of this community. I feel very strongly about making sure that Johnson County and Kansas and America are places where people can just live and work and play without the struggles of discrimination and those burdens. So I would bring that to the table, as heavy as that is. I would be the first non-binary elected official in the state of Kansas and the only member of the Board of Trustees that would be LGBTQ currently. And I believe that vision is incredibly important.
Well, Jay, I appreciate you spending some time with us today. And before we close, I just want to give you a couple minutes to provide any final thoughts if you have any.
Sure. Well, I've laid it all out on the table at this point, but to recap, my name is Jae Moyer, and I am a student at Johnson County Community College and a member of the LGBTQ community. I'm focused on working on topics of equality, education, and opportunity at the community college because I believe that when we make those things a priority and we focus on making sure people feel welcome and feel like they have the tools they need to succeed, that will help JCCC prepare people to stimulate our workforce and stimulate our economy right here in Johnson County. Those are the things that I would like to do. And if you support me, you can visit my website, www.jaemoyer.com. That's JAEMOYER.com.
And that wraps up our interview for today. Let me remind everyone that advance voting by mail begins on Wednesday, October 13th. Advance voting in person begins on Saturday, October 23rd. And of course, Election Day is Tuesday, November 2nd.